Hey everybody, Steve Kolskat here for elitefts.com. We have a special guest today, all the way from Cyprus. We have the leader of the Bicep Nation, Clint Darden.
Nice to be here. Nice to be here.
And we're just gonna wing the interview. We're gonna go with a little bit about your background. A lot of people, you've answered so many questions online. People have a good grasp of your knowledge base, which is pretty extensive. But we want to know where that comes from. There's been numerous theories about your background. You've been linked to international spydom.
That's true. That's true.
As your alias, Mr. Eastwood.
Yeah, and we'll have to link that down here somewhere. Yeah. How far do you want me to go back?
Well, let's start off. I'm guessing you probably have that story of the concrete weight set. Is that where you started? Where did you begin?
I began, probably my first love in sports was martial arts. And I was a national level competitor for a long time. And I tore all the muscles across my lower back. So I just began going to the gym as rehab.
And what age was that?
Man, I would have been 16. So we began rehabbing that when I was 16. And then I just, I learned that as I did get stronger in the gym, not only did I got to, get bigger, and then I got to show off for the ladies, but then I got better at sports. So, that was a big thing for me in the gym. I trained in the gym for several years before I actually moved to an actual garage gym, because it seemed like most gyms didn't really have, even then, what I wanted to do or when I wanted to do it. But that really got me started.
Okay. When did it become more serious?
As crazy as it sounds, I can't remember a time where I went to the gym and just played. Mm-hmm. The first day I went to the gym, I squatted in the Smith machine with the empty Smith machine bar, and I went down and didn't come back up. I bench pressed. We didn't have boards back then, so we used a towel on the bench press. Mm-hmm. And I took 95 pounds down, and then the guy pulled it off of me. And that was my first day in the gym. And then right after that, every single training session was just go in as hard as you can. And then when I began working on my own, it became out of Flex magazine and what I read here and there. And all this was way before the internet. So that there weren't any resources. There was nobody to talk to about actual strength training in that respect. But I think probably in college, once I started realizing that I was getting a little bit stronger, that even though I wanted to be a bodybuilder per se and be bigger, there was nothing that made up for the feeling that I got when I squatted or bench pressed, or once I finally deadlifted, or even heavy rows or chins or overhead presses. You just fell in love with it, and slowly but surely, I got older, I fought less and less, and the gym was right there.
Okay. And when did you get involved in the competitive strength sports?
I think there was a time through college, and I think everyone's kind of gone through this, and I went to college for a long time. We discussed this earlier. My bachelor's was the greatest 8 years of my life. That 4-year degree was an amazing 8-year process. Then there was a certain point where I was really, really poor and broke, and I worked all the time and went to school. I didn't have the money for a gym or to go to the gym, didn't have the time to go to the gym. So, I built a place to train in my parents' garage, and my squat rack was 2 55-gallon steel drums, laid a bar across it, good morning the bar up, step back, squatted, put it back, and that was my gym for a long time. But I've competed in sports all my life, whether it's baseball, basketball, martial arts. So that's not just enough for me just to go in the gym and train. I've got to have a goal, a purpose. There's got to be something, really, really going on important with what I'm doing. So I picked up an old Milo magazine, and I'm flipping through there, and I got more involved in just what I could do at home, and that was kind of what got me involved in strongman. And I'd ballooned up. I wanted to weigh 300 pounds. I'd bulked up to I think 306. Promised myself once I did that I was going to get in shape. So there was kind of a transition period to where I wanted to do something other than just training at home. I didn't want to be a big fat slob that got out of breath walking to the kitchen. I wanted to do something more productive. And in this magazine, it showed, Tennessee's Strongest Man, which was like 45 minutes away from my house. Signed up, went, competed. took dead last, absolute dead last, I think in every single event, much less overall. And there were so few competitors that I still qualified for nationals. So, I mean, at that point, you know, my parents were hooked because it was like we were back in martial arts again. With the family, we were going places to compete. Nationals was in Texas. You know, we all got in the car and drove, and as a family, we're competing, and we're all staying in one hotel together. Because when I was in martial arts, we had a big full-size conversion van. So every Friday, we all got in the van, and we would drive 16, 20, 24 hours to a competition, compete all day Saturday, drive back Sunday. So it was the family, you know, was all back together. You know, and I went to nationals, and I got second in my weight class. You know, and then you just get addicted. You know, it's what can I do next? And you know, you hang on that idea that tomorrow's going to be better and better and better. And you know, the rest was just one contest at a time. You know, training for something bigger and better, and having a whole lot of fun in the process.
Okay. Did you have any mentors along the way, or did you have to kind of find your own path?
As far as with strongman, Bubba Melton held the Tennessee Strongest Man contest that I first went to. And he was the closest, he had the closest strongman gym at the time. That was 45 minutes away, and they trained at 8 o'clock on Saturday mornings. So right after the competition, right after his first competition, getting prepared for nationals, I decided that, hey, you know, if I'm gonna get better at this, I've got to travel, I've got to go train, I've got to learn. And he had everything there. So every other Saturday, I drove down to train with him. And he actually had some pretty bad medical conditions. And I trained with him on the morning that he passed away. He passed away the night after we had trained together. But I mean, he was really probably the first person in strongman. And if for the people that are watching this, if they ever met Bubba Melton, they know that he was a big inspiration for a lot of people. He was North America's strongest man for many years. And, you know, seeing him and having someone like that at a point, I think, in my strength career where nobody was helping me. You know, you're literally on your own. And a lot of guys watching this, you know, they know what I'm talking about because you're in a garage gym. There's nobody helping you. There's you know, this was before internet really. And it's just you in a bar in a rack, and you need help, and there's no one to help you. And he was really the first guy to step up and say, here, do this. You know, this is technique for stones. This is the log. Let's look at your deadlift and make corrections. And his passing was really tough for everybody in the sport. And I remember nationals that year was really, really tough. Not for me, but for everybody. I mean, he was, you know, obviously the predicted winner again, so it was kind of... it was tough, and he was probably my first real mentor when it came to strength sports.
Okay. And tell people kind of briefly how you got to Cyprus from the U.S.
You know, we discussed this. If I tell you one story, my wife's going to tell you another version of this. But, you know, the short version, my wife and I met at school, and she had to go back to Cyprus for work. And I really had nothing major going on here, you know, work-wise and career-wise. So it was a great opportunity, you know, for me to go over there and be with her. So, you know, to make myself sound great, you know, it's the ultimate of romance. I mean, you give up everything. And I'm from a really, really small town in Kentucky. I was not looking for a short little foreign girl, and she did not like American people, and she did not like big people at all. And, you know, but the first one that we met, it was just, you know, it really was magic. And from our first date, we saw each other every day for, I mean, forever, as long as I can remember. So, you know, I mean, she would have given up anything to be here with me, and I would have given up anything to be there with her. So, moved there, and the rest of being a trophy husband is just, you know, that's cake right there.
And what is the lifting scene like there in Cyprus?
You know, I want to say mostly everything is bodybuilding, but there, you know, we're looking at maybe 15, 20 people that actually compete in bodybuilding. So it's just, yeah, everybody goes to the gym. I mean, everybody I know goes to a gym. That's just part of life. And in a large part of Europe, that is a large part of European culture. That's like saying, it's like asking someone, hey, you know what ESPN is? Everyone knows what ESPN is. You know, everybody knows how to go to the gym, or at least that you're supposed to go to the gym. So, you know, fitness is at least something that everybody does. As far as strength sports, there's really nothing when it comes to powerlifting. There's nothing when it comes to strongman. So if you want to compete, you've got to get on an airplane and fly somewhere. You can't just get in your car and drive. And I've been really, really blessed this year with, you know, being a 5-minute drive away from our national gym and training with some amazing Olympic weightlifters. And that's been a blessing in itself.
Okay. We're going to cut now. We're going to do another segment. And next time we'll talk a little bit about what you're doing business-wise now.
Great.